shot. I am not throwing away my shot. And you will just like my country, I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
Hi, I'm Christopher John Farley, a senior editor with the Wall Street Journal. I'm here with Renée Elise Goldsberry, who is one of the stars of the musical Hamilton. Thanks for coming to the Wall Street Journal.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you play Angelica Schuyler in Hamilton, and she is the sister-in-law of Alexander Hamilton, but she's sort of more than the ordinary in-law. Can you tell me the role that she played in his life?
Yes, she introduces Alexander to her little sister, Elizabeth Schuyler, who becomes Eliza Hamilton. She is, I think, what we would consider a founding mother of this country, somebody that we don't know a huge amount about, but who was definitely in the ear of the founding fathers, writing letters, very influential letters to Thomas Jefferson, to Alexander Hamilton. I think that she would have been president one day if the world had been different at that time.
It's fascinating to read the letters between the Hamiltons, how intense they are, how political they are, how insightful they are, and you don't get the same kind of textual communication today between family members because it's all via text.
Yes,
or
it's like little blurbs here and there. And sometimes I feel like I wonder what's lost, because I think that's what empowers biographers, wonderful biographers like Ron Chernow, the writer of Alexander Hamilton, the book that inspired this musical, to be able to dig so deep and tell us more than facts about who these people were, really talk about the relationships and the passions and the scandals and the disappointments.
Now, there was passion verging on scandal between Angelica and Alexander Hamilton. Of course, Alexander Hamilton married Angelica's sister, Eliza, but there was this flirtation that seemed to go on between Angelica and Alexander. Do you think there was actually an affair there? I mean, Ron Chernow in his book kind of hints that maybe there was, but no one really knows.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that there was definitely an emotional affair. I think
an emotional affair.
Yes,
does that count?
I think it counts. I'm a married woman, so I think it counts. Listen, husband. Yeah, I think definitely you see a need for each other, a need to spar in that way, and a need to be recognized in that way. But I think that is definitely a blurred line. What we don't know is if it was consummated, but there's enough there to recognize the influence they had in each other's lives.
But maybe it was consummated intellectually, which of course is just as bad in a way.
It's definitely on the line there. It's definitely on the line.
Now, the other thing I find interesting is some of the contradictions that go on in this family, because of course the Schuyler family was very rich, had a big mansion in Albany, and it turns out, although they're very progressive in some ways, they owned slaves.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, what do you think the Schuylers would have thought of your play, which is so diverse and encompasses so many different kinds of people?
Well, one thing that I think is kind of wonderful and interesting, Angelica Schuyler just celebrated, her birthday just passed, and somebody tweeted to me that when you Google Angelica Schuyler birthday, a oil painting portrait of me playing Angelica Schuyler comes up as who, and I just thought that was kind of fascinating and really interesting. And I wonder, would she be kind of turning over in her grave? But I don't think so. I think these were people of their time, but they were revolutionaries. And so I have to imagine that they would be that today.
We fought with him. Me, I died for him. Me, I trusted him. Me, I loved him. And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.
It's kind of really wonderful to look at that time and see what happened and the kind of fights that were happening in an election season when you know, depending on which way everything goes, how it will affect policy, how it'll affect our country. I actually love that we talk about founding mothers in this particular election season when we're trying to make decisions about taking seriously really, really wonderful candidates that are women. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is the star of our show and the creator of our show, And he, I think, speaks about it like it gives him hope to hear these passionate arguments that were happening so long ago. When you look at the debating and the fighting that goes on now, to know that this is a part of our history, it's part of our DNA, to fight in these ways so passionately about the things that we believe in. Because I think sometimes it makes us a bit jaded and bitter when we see fights. But to know that really this is who we are, and this is our discourse, and this is how we work things out. And we've been doing it since the beginning of our nation.
It's also fascinating. There are all these great political actors around: Alexander Hamilton, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and they all seem to have an attraction towards your character, Angelica Schuyler.
Yeah.
What did she have that had all these great men really kind of writing letters about how terrific she was?
Well, they say that she was as comfortable in an English tea room as she was in a parlor on the Hudson River. I mean, she was a modern woman, but she was extremely intelligent. She was extremely witty and very social. And she held court in England, and she held court here. And I really 100% believe that she would have been president, if that had been possible.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I'ma compel him to include women in the sequel.
I also found it fascinating the degree of difficulty involved in your performance, because you not only have to sing, you have to rap. And it's very difficult to do both. I mean, people like Lauryn Hill and
Yes, she does
Drake.
it well.
Tell me, how did you manage to sort of pull off both in the show? And is it something you had training in terms of the rapping part?
I am always amazed at the amount of credit I get for rapping, because I definitely grew up with this music, and what I didn't have was an opportunity to do this on a Broadway stage. But I grew up listening to wonderful rappers, and many of them women. I talk about so many of them, MC Lyte, Salt and Pepper. We grew up. These were not, hip hop songs that were on the fringe. These were in the center of our culture. These were pop songs, and I knew every single word. And so it feels very natural to me, just like I grew up singing, to rap as well. And I think it is an honor to be the only woman that raps in this show. And I think it's a wonderful vehicle that Lin uses to be able to highlight the pace at which her mind works. He says that she's the smartest person in this world, and which is a beautiful thing that they really believe that about Angelica Schuyler. In a sea of all these brilliant minds, this one is the sharpest.
Yeah, I want to talk about one downside of Hamilton.
Yeah.
Getting tickets. Are you bombarded by people, friends, family, strangers saying, how can I get a ticket at some reasonable price to see this show? How do you deal with that?
I was just writing an email last night to my high school music director, who's somebody I didn't even know was still in the world. I had no idea where he was. I haven't seen him since I was a senior in high school. And I got an email from him, saying congratulations and wishing me all this love. And that's like one of my favorite things about being a part of the show. And the fact that the ticket is so hot that it puts me in a situation where it's like being on Facebook. You get connected to a bunch of people that you would normally not maybe reach out to you. So yeah, I get a lot of ticket requests, and it's challenging because I want to take advantage of the opportunity to hook people up, but there's not a lot of tickets, even for me. And so my prayer is that the show runs a really long time so that everyone gets to see it.
Well, Renée Elise Goldsberry plays Angelica Schuyler in Hamilton. Thanks a lot for coming to the Wall Street Journal. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming to see
Great.
Hamilton.
Thank you.